Have you ever been on a date that felt like a play where you were the only one who didn't get a script? One moment, the connection is electric, the conversation flows, and you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The next, a subtle shift. A playful comment feels like a jab. A moment of silence feels like a verdict. Or she pulls away just when you thought you were getting closer. You're left scrambling, replaying every word, wondering what you did wrong. In my years as a psychologist, I've sat with countless men who describe this exact confusion. They come to me thinking they've failed, that they're unlovable, or that women are impossibly complex enigmas. But what if I told you these moments aren't random acts of chaos? What if they're part of an ancient, often unconscious screening process? These are a woman's silent tests. And this isn't about some manipulative game designed to make you fail. It's a deeply ingrained biological and psychological process she uses to answer the most critical question of all. Are you the real deal? It's her way of filtering out the weak and indecisive from the strong and capable to see if your confidence is for real or just for show. This isn't a battle to be won. It's a language to be understood. And once you learn to decode it, you'll stop seeing these moments as traps and start seeing them as invitations. Invitations to reveal the most grounded, confident, and authentic version of yourself. The biological blueprint. Why she tests in the first place. Before we dive into the specific tests, we have to address the why. Why does this happen? The simple answer is survival. For thousands of years, a woman's choice of partner had life or death consequences. While men could reproduce with minimal long-term investment, women faced 9 months of pregnancy and years of child rearing. Choosing the wrong partner, one who was weak, unreliable, or would abandon her under pressure, was a catastrophic risk. This evolutionary pressure hardwired what psychologists call intersexual selection, the tendency for women to be the choosers while men compete for their attention. This ancient wiring is still very much active today. When a woman tests you, her brain isn't consciously thinking about her ancestors, but the same neural pathways that guided them are still firing. She is unconsciously following a script that tells her to let the man pursue and prove his genuine interest. Her deeper instinctual self is looking for a partner with the greatest potential for survival, not just physically, but emotionally. She's looking for the man whose attention feels like a triumph, not a given. This testing process is not some cruel, calculated game she plays to make your life harder. It's often an intuitive, biological response to a man she finds attractive. She's trying to gauge your confidence levels, your emotional stability, and your social intelligence. She needs to know if you can handle her moods, her complexities, her challenges. Her tests are an unconscious way of finding your edges, of feeling out whether your words, energy, and emotions are all aligned. In essence, she's asking, can you hold your ground with me? Can you meet my emotional depth not with bravado, but with steady, self-respecting presence? Most men fail not because they are unworthy, but because they misinterpret the test entirely. They think it's about her, when really it's all about them. The crucible of confidence, the foundation of all tests, the first and most fundamental test a woman will run is the confidence test. It's the bedrock upon which all other judgments are built. She needs to see that your sense of self isn't a fragile house of cards, ready to collapse at the slightest breeze. This test comes in many forms, but it often starts with playful teasing or criticism. Imagine you're on a date, and you mention your favorite band. Instead of nodding along, she smirks and says, "Oh, really? I always thought they were a bit cheesy." A man with shaky confidence immediately goes into defense mode. He might get flustered and try to justify his taste. Or worse, he'll immediately backtrack to please her. "Yeah, they're not my favorite. I just listen to them sometimes." This, at best, comes across as weak and at worst, gives women the ick because it shows you're willing to change who you are just to win her over. You come across like a bad politician, not a potential partner. A confident man, however, sees this for what it is, an open invitation to flirt and banter. He doesn't see it as an attack, but as an opportunity to play. He might playfully tease back, "Wow, I guess I'll have to re-educate your taste in music," or, "Well, there's no way we can have a third date unless you watch my favorite movie with me." He owns his choices. He might say, "I love ugly jumpers, don't you think they suit me?" Or even, "I figured I was so handsome I could pull this off." I'm devastated you disagree. By doing this, he shows that his sense of self-worth does not shift just because an attractive woman pokes at it. He demonstrates inner strength and, paradoxically, creates more attraction. This extends to challenging your opinions on more serious topics. She might disagree with you about a movie, politics, or your love for football. Again, the mistake is to instantly change your mind to get along with her. Women are not turned on by men who hide who they really are just to please them. It feels weak and needy. A woman is far more attracted to a man who can stand his ground, disagree with her without losing his cool, and show her that he's unwilling to compromise on his core identity. This test also manifests in how you handle small moments of pressure. The restaurant gets your order wrong, your Uber cancels, or the movie you wanted to see is sold out. Anyone can be charming when things are going perfectly, but your true character is revealed when the script changes. Do you get flustered and start blaming the waiter or the app? Or do you keep your cool, pivot to a new plan, and maybe even laugh it off? Your ability to stay grounded when things go wrong is one of the clearest indicators of your emotional stability, a top trait women look for in a long-term partner. She's observing if you're adaptable, mature, and someone who can handle life's inevitable curveballs without falling apart. The ghost in the machine. Navigating her silence and distance, one of the most anxiety-inducing tests for any man is the hot and cold treatment. One day, she's messaging you constantly, showing a ton of interest. The next, she's gone. Her replies are short, if they come at all. Pure, deafening silence. The average man's mind immediately spirals. What did I do? Did I say something wrong? Is she talking to someone else? This behavior can happen for a few reasons. First, she might be testing your level of interest. She wants to see if you're serious about pursuing her, or if you'll just forget about her the moment she isn't making it easy. Secondly, and more importantly, she is testing your confidence and your neediness. Any guy can seem confident when a woman is responsive and showing interest, but she wants to see what happens when she pulls her attention away. Will you get insecure and obsessively start reaching out, or will you remain cool and calm, like a man who is secure in himself? The biggest mistake men make here is to start chasing. They send a barrage of, "How are you?" or "thinking of you" messages. This immediately signals desperation and lowers your value in her eyes. Her silence is a test of your investment level, your consistency, and your ability to lead the interaction. So, how do you pass? You mirror her energy, but with a confident twist. If she pulls away, you pull away. Give her space. Let her wonder about you. Don't let her see that her silence has rattled you. The key is to not chase her for attention, but to continue living your own life. After a few days of silence, if you decide to reach out, don't do it with a needy, open-ended question. Be clear, direct, and focused on logistics. Send a message that leads to a plan like, "Hey, hope you're having a great week. Let's grab that coffee on Tuesday." This shows confidence rather than creating an excuse to get back in touch. You lay your cards on the table. A playful approach can also work wonders. If she's gone quiet, you could send a lighthearted message like, "Look at us, so chatty, aren't we?" Or, "If you've been kidnapped by aliens, let me know. I'll come save you in 4 to 5 business days." This does two things. The fact that you're reaching out shows you're still interested, but the playful tone shows you're not bothered by her lack of communication. You're not stewing on the other end. You're still the same confident guy. Just remember what some call the 2 strikes rule. You can playfully engage twice without a response, but no more. If she's into you, she'll respond. If not, cut your losses and move on. This same principle applies when she cancels plans, especially at the last minute. If it's a one-off and she has a genuine reason, be relaxed and understanding. Say, "No worries, what drink can I order you for our rescheduled date?" But if it becomes a trend, it's a test of your boundaries. A man with self-respect doesn't keep his schedule wide open for someone who consistently flakes. Don't be in a rush to reschedule. Let her be the one to pick up the plans with you. This shows you have a healthy respect for your own time, which in turn makes her respect you more. The specter of the other man, the jealousy gauntlet, at some point, she will almost certainly bring up other men. This can be one of the most direct and unnerving tests designed to probe your security and emotional composure. It can take several forms, each requiring a slightly different but always cool-headed response. First, she might fish for information about other women in your life, or playfully accuse you of being a player. "You're such a player, aren't you?" Or, "How many women are you seeing right now?" Most guys fail this test immediately. They get defensive. "No, I'm not a player. I'm not like those guys." Or overly apologetic, trying to reassure her that she's the only one. This is a huge mistake. It subtly tells her you're already highly invested and that her simple question rattled you. The way to handle this is to be slightly aloof and playful. If she calls you a player, you could respond with a smile. Aren't we all players in the game of life? If she asks how many women you're seeing, you could say with a smirk, all of them. The point isn't to give her a literal answer. It's to show that her attempt to throw you off balance didn't work. By being playfully over the top, you demonstrate how ridiculous the question is, and then you can move the conversation forward. You can also be confidently honest. If you are seeing other people, you can say, yes, I am. My goal is to find my next serious relationship. And I'm really enjoying spending my time with you. This is unrattled, confident, and honest. Another common tactic is for her to mention other men in her life, an ex, a close guy friend, or even explicitly state that she's going on other dates. The natural male instinct is to become jealous and reactive. This is exactly what she's testing for. A weak man becomes insecure and starts trying to control the situation. A man who knows his worth remains calm and composed. He understands that if they aren't exclusive, she has every right to see other people, and his jealousy won't change that. He also thinks clearly. Is this the kind of woman and the kind of behavior he genuinely wants to keep investing in? If you are actively dating her, her mentioning other guys could be her way of indirectly saying, you need to commit to me, or I have other options. While it may not be the healthiest way to communicate, her motivation is likely to get closer to you. Instead of getting jealous, see it for what it is and decide how you want to proceed. Perhaps the most intense version of this is when she flirts with other men right in front of you. I've seen men get angry, competitive, or just shut down in this situation. All of these are failing moves. The truth is, she's often flirting with other guys because she likes you. She wants to see your reaction. Here's the ultimate power move. Walk up to both of them, engage the guy, and make friends with him. Win him over. This shows such incredible confidence that it completely disarms her test. It communicates that you are so secure in yourself that what she's doing doesn't rattle you at all. Then, at the right moment, you can put your arm around her and playfully pull her away. This kind of calm, confident leadership is magnetic. The gatekeeper's riddles, boundaries, favors, and intimacy. A woman will constantly test your boundaries to see if you have a backbone. She needs to know that you are a man who respects himself, because a man who doesn't respect himself cannot be respected by others. This often comes in the form of asking for favors. If you're in a genuine, reciprocal relationship, doing favors for each other is natural. In fact, if she asks you to help her with something traditionally masculine, like putting up shelves, it can be a way for her to create polarity and deepen attraction. However, this becomes a major red flag if you feel like you're constantly giving, offering her rides, helping her out, and she never gives you her time for a real date in return. You must never inconvenience yourself too much just to please her, especially in the early stages. If she asks for a ride to the airport but you have other plans, just say no respectfully. Women want a man who can say no, a man who has his own life, his own priorities, and doesn't bend over backwards to please her at his own expense. If you're always available to her, she will take you for granted and lose respect for you. You become her yes man, and while she might keep you around for more favors, she will never desire you romantically. This dance of boundaries also extends to intimacy. She may test you by withholding physical affection. It's important to understand that for many women, an emotional connection must come before the physical connection. If she physically backs off one day, don't let it unnerve you. She could be stressed, distracted, or feel you haven't been spending enough quality time together. Instead of getting anxious, stay consistent, stay affectionate, and focus on building that emotional bond. Trust that the physical affection will follow. On the other hand, she might test you by saying something like, "Just so you know, we're not having sex tonight." Don't take this as a negative sign. Paradoxically, it often means she's already thinking about it and feeling very attracted to you. She's trying to resist her urges because she doesn't want to be seen as that kind of girl and wants to make sure you see her as more than just a one-night stand. The best way to handle this is to tease her playfully. You could say with a smirk, "Wow, you're already thinking about having sex with me? I knew this cologne was a good choice." Or, "Don't worry, I'm saving myself for marriage. Just don't push her." Be playful, take things slow, and keep flirting. 9 times out of 10, she's testing to see if you'll respect her boundaries, and if you do, it makes her want you even more. Finally, there's the infamous "I'm fine" test. When a woman says she's fine, she is almost never fine. She is testing your emotional intelligence. She wants to see if you can pick up on her subtle signals without needing everything spelled out. Taking her words at face value is an instant fail. However, desperately trying to fix the problem is also a mistake. The key is to stay calm and acknowledge her feelings. A simple, "I can tell something's on your mind. I'm here when you want to talk," shows that you are emotionally stable and aware, but you're not letting her mood control yours. This demonstrates that you're a man who leads, not one who is easily swayed by her emotions. The long game, the character and compatibility, audit as things progress. A woman's tests will shift from gauging your immediate confidence to assessing your long-term potential. She's always thinking ahead, trying to determine if you're just a short-term fling or if you're marathon material. One of the most powerful and revealing character tests is watching how you treat people who can do nothing for you. She's not just paying attention to how you treat her. She's noticing how you interact with the waiter, the cashier, or strangers on the street. If you're polite, patient, and kind, it signals that you value people for who they are, not what they can give you. If you're dismissive or rude, it's a glaring red flag. She knows that if basic decency isn't part of your core character, it will eventually show up in how you treat her once the honeymoon phase is over. She will also bring up value-based topics to see where you stand on the big things: kids, marriage, career goals, finances. For some guys, this can feel like an interrogation, but it's just smart dating. She's trying to see if your visions for the future are compatible. Core value mismatches almost always become deal breakers later, no matter how strong the chemistry is now. The key here is to be honest. The right person will appreciate your authenticity, and even if it means you're not a match, you've both saved yourselves time and heartbreak. Finally, she is constantly checking for consistency over time. Long-term trust isn't built on grand romantic gestures. It's built on you showing up in the same way, day in and day out, even when the initial excitement fades. If you said you're dependable, do your actions still reflect that when life gets busy? If you said you value communication, do you still check in when you're no longer trying to impress her? Consistency doesn't mean being perfect. It means your words and actions match over time. For most women, that is one of the strongest indicators of reliability, and a man she can build a future with. The final truth at the end of the day: a woman's silent tests are not about defeating you. They are about discovering you. They are invitations to reveal your depth, your steadiness, and your ability to remain grounded even when emotions swirl. The goal is not to memorize a list of cheat codes or to perform a role you think she wants. The goal is to become the kind of man who passes these tests naturally because he is genuinely confident, emotionally stable, and has a strong sense of self-respect. When you stop seeing these moments as threats and start seeing them as opportunities, everything shifts. You no longer fear the tests. You welcome them, because every time you meet them with grace, you reaffirm your own center. A woman doesn't want a man who can be bent to her will. She wants a man who is a rock, whose presence allows her to feel safe enough to be the wind. And when she finds that man, the tests soften, the games fade, and what's left is a deep, unshakable respect, the true foundation of lasting attraction and love.